speaking out of Confident Communicator Manual, project number 5, Your Body Speaks. Today his objectives are to use stance, movement, gestures, facial expressions, and eye contact to express the message and achieve the speech's purpose. He also needs to try and keep his body language smooth and natural. The speech is 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you, Jack. Have you ever worked with or known someone who just didn't fit in? They were withdrawn, quiet, and had zero social skills. How did you cope with someone like that? If you have been in this situation and have been at a loss of how to befriend someone like that, Kasterko has an insight from personal experience that he is going to. Ken is going to share about his friend Stephen and how listening and affirming can change someone's life. Please join me in welcoming Ken Kasterko as he shares his friend Stephen.
Dad, can you help me? Can you help me with my homework? Yes. Dad, can you play ball? Can we play football? Can we toss the ball? Can we do something outside? It's hot. It's nice outside. I met Stephen about 10 years ago. Stephen was a quirky, very shy, quiet, high water pants. He was always kind of dressed kind of not too good. His belt was way up here. He was 23 years old. It wasn't like he was 90. Very socially inept. Just didn't know how to relate to anybody. And 10 years ago in church is where I met him. He was doing the computer, putting the words up on the wall for the people to read for songs, or the pastor would have him put the words up for his sermons, and so people could fill in and look. And he was okay at the computer, and he also did a lot of stuff with the band, where he would set up the band, or he would set chairs up for the congregation. But he just didn't have any social skills, so when people would come up to him, he was extremely inward, looking down all the time. He just had no self-esteem whatsoever. And I would always wonder, what's going on with Stephen? Honestly, the guy had a good job. It wasn't like he was destitute, but you could tell the outer shell had been hammered on. He had some really tough experiences in his life, but you could never, ever get him to say anything to you about it. You could never put your arm around him and he would shrink. If you touched him, he would shrink. And you can imagine what kind of things go through your mind, what kind of trauma he's been through in his past, either physical or mental. But I got a chance over the last 10 years to kind of poke in and out of his life. I've been in and out of his life through church experience and things that have gone on. One of the things that I've done lately is I've been teaching a lot about passion, and teaching a lot about self-image and how that all plays into how we react around people and finding your talents. So I saw Stephen for the first time in a long time, a couple years ago, about a year ago I would say, and Stephen was still the same way, introverted, very much, probably I would say even worse than he was before. So we started talking. And for the first time, I started talking with Stephen, and Stephen started to listen. I started to listen to what Stephen was saying. And it really taught me something about listening to someone. Was I truly listening to Stephen before, or was I just in awe of what was going on and how quirky and how weird he was? Or was I really listening to him? I have 2 ears and 1 mouth. How was I really taking in the information and listening to what he was saying? Was there cries in his conversation with me that I didn't pick up on? I started to intently listen to Stephen and started to ask him some questions about his passion, about what he was excited about. And I said, are you excited about doing this volunteer? Because somebody who volunteers is incredible. Someone like that who shows up every single Sunday, every single Wednesday to help practice for the band. He was amazing. But that's supposed to transform us to be able to go outside of the church, go outside of our organizations, to go outside of our jobs, and be somewhat of an impact in our community, I believe. So I asked him, what are your passions, Stephen? What are you talented? What's your talents? And I listened to what he said for the first time. Instead of kind of being awkwardly pushed away by him, I kind of leaned in and kind of backed up a little bit to draw it out of him. And he started to tell me, I have no talent. I have no passion. I can do this because I'm capable. I can run the computer. I can do all these things because I'm capable. But I have nothing in me that really I can tell you that I'm passionate about. It was the first time I ever heard him. I actually heard him. He probably had signs before, but I actually heard it now. And so we talked, and I had him write down his passions. He didn't have any. He couldn't do any. But I said, okay, what are your talents, Stephen? What do you do that no one else can do? Or what is it that you're really good at? I don't know. And I said, well, I think you're overlooking them, because we overlook talents that we have, that we live with every single day. We're so familiar with them, we don't see him as talents. Well, he's extremely quiet. I don't think he's a loud guy. I don't think he's over the top. I think he's a quiet guy. I see, quietness that's a talent. You have the ability to listen to people when most people won't listen. So I said, you need to practice that. You need to write that down. What are the other talents you have? So he came back to me about a week later, and he had a list of talents. And you and I would probably laugh if we saw these, because some of them were cute, but some of them were really good. And I just want to let you guys know that my experience with Stephen, he had a cycle going on in his life that, because of what happened with his dad, what I depicted before was this. He never talked to his son, but he communicated thousands of words. Does that make sense? He communicated thousands of words. When you're able to really look inside somebody and find out what they're passionate about, what their talent is, and you actually listen, that happened to him early on in his life, and he carried it for 35 years. So I was actually able to finally listen with my 2 ears, and I got an incredible amount of information out of him. And that cycle, I think, is broken. And I've seen Stephen, last time I saw Stephen was this last Sunday, and we've been going through this for the last 2 weeks, talking, listening, and it's been amazing. He was smiling and he's still doing the computer, and he's still doing the things he's doing, but now he's smiling, he's energetic, he's outgoing and looking at me. It's awesome. Thank you for your time today.